Hey guys, welcome back to Firearms and Fellowship. We are having Friday night firearms chat, and I'm happy to be joined by Pat from Pat in a Bunker. Pat, how you doing tonight, bud?
Not too bad. Just got home a little bit ago and had the time, so I thought I'd try this out and see how it goes tonight.
We
Thanks for having
appreciate
me
you.
on.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. George McAllister is going to try to join us. He's running a little bit late, so hopefully he can pop in here in just a little bit. Um, so tell me, how'd your day go? I know you've got some cow stuff going on. Did everything go okay last night for you?
Yeah, I got extremely lucky. The good Lord blessed me with a quiet night of nothing happening. So besides having to get up twice in the middle of the night and just go check on them, yeah, because the last couple of days before that were just absolute woof. There's a lot of 3:30 to 4:30 in the morning pulling calves and trying to get them warmed back up in this extreme cold. So yeah, last night was a welcome break. I'll put it that way. So
Yeah,
so
I know. I know when it's as cold as we've been, that it makes it all the more hard. Um,
yeah, yeah. The colder it gets, it's just the harder things are.
yeah. So you got any firearms projects that you've been working on here lately you want to talk about?
Yeah, actually, I just got a 1911 double stack T sauce, their duty model. So I've been practicing with that. First time I've ever had a dot on a pistol, so I'm trying that
Okay.
out. And with my stigmatism, I went with a green dot on it, and not nearly as bad as a red dot. Still a little bit of starburst in it, but not near as bad as a red dot. So I'm hoping that's going to work out well. And just got the holster and stuff, and still waiting on the light. So there'll be videos of that coming as far as getting all the pieces, parts, and everything together and how all that jives together. But yeah, that's the project I got going on right now. So really enjoying the gun. Always wanted a 1911 style gun. So yeah, it's been working really well. Been working really well. So
They're 1911s are a joy to shoot. They're one of the best designs of all time. Um, I'd never thought about the difference between a red dot and a green dot if you have astigmatism. Can you kind of talk about like what you see with the red dot versus the green dot?
yeah, the red dot, um, and it all has to do with the light spectrum and everything. Apparently, according to most of the people that know way more than I do out there, your eye naturally picks up green better than it does red. And with my horrible eyes, especially if you have astigmatism in your eyes, um, the red just starbursts in there. And you could get it to choke down to real tiny where you could barely see it and it would be clear.
Mhm.
But the more you intensify that red dot and bring that brightness level up, it's just like it flowers and it's
Okay.
just speckled all the way around your red dot. And I've got to be really careful on levels, because I have some on rifles and stuff. But especially the further away you get the dot from your eye, the
Mhm.
worse it gets. I come to find out with pistol, not too horrible on a rifle. I
Yeah.
could crank it up a little bit more and be okay. But I did a test because I've got a red and a green on a prism scope on one, and I just run green from now on because
Yeah.
that green is just so much smoother when it comes to my eyes, and it does not starburst near as bad. So, but
That's
yeah, that's if you have crummy eyes like me.
Yeah. Well, I have astigmatism too. And I haven't messed around with green or red dot very much. I have one on 1022 that's a green dot, and I just recently picked up a Glock 43 with a red
Oh,
dot on it. I haven't shot it a lot. Um, I haven't noticed any issues with the red dot myself, but again, I maybe have 50 rounds through it. So I do like the green dot on Ruger 1022. Boy, you talk about a lot of fun to shoot. Um, Really easy target acquisition with that thing on there.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost kind of like a little cheat code after you've been running irons for a while.
Yeah.
Really nice, especially if it's a reflex sight. It's
Mhm.
really nice on that. You don't have to have it 100% lined up, just dead center in the glass. You can bend around a little bit and a little more forgiving that way.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something that I've really just been kind of getting into. The other thing that probably this past year I've really learned to appreciate as my eyesight deteriorates is peep sights. It's just amazing how how much clearer you can see the target through a peep sight versus just iron sights. Do you mess around with peep sights much?
Yeah, actually, I do have a set of peeps on another gun. I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember which one right at the moment, but I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. Whether my memory's slipping or I've got too many guns,
Too many?
but
Yeah.
but yeah, peep sights seems to focus my eyes in better
Hmm.
on the target instead of having like the ones that I absolutely do not like is those big old buckhorn sights. I like the style, I like the way they look, but not for me, you
Yeah.
know. So, but yeah, peeps definitely help focus my eyes, especially as crummy as they are. So I keep going back to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just part of it. The older you get, the worse your eyesight gets, and there's people in my comments talk about that a lot. Uh, you know, having a hard time seeing through iron sights as they get older. You know, I've been kind of going through my older rifles and figuring out which ones are drilled for peep sights and looking for one. And I hate to drill into a old antique rifle to put peep sights on there, but there's quite a few back in the day that came from the factory ready for them.
Yeah, and, you know, and especially sometimes if you can get lucky, and especially on the reproductions nowadays, where they've got a little more options to switch those sites and stuff around on some of that, where the aftermarket companies will actually have peep sites for that. Now it's not a lot, but there are some out there.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Williams makes a lot of options for them. Um, I don't know if Lyman does Lyman still make sights.
Oh boy, I don't know. I would have to check on that. I
Yeah,
honestly couldn't tell
I'm
you.
I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can put it in the comments. I know they used to make a lot of them. Speaking of Lyman, um, well, we'll get to that here in a minute. The thing that I've been working on kind of off and on the past couple weeks is this. Let me pull it up here. Is this old Stevens 76A gill gun or click clack gun? A lot of people know them as like the Springfield 87A. This is just an earlier version. And of course, you had the Savage Model 6, all
Hmm.
basically the same design, But when I got this rifle, it was man, you talk about gummed up. Uh, just wouldn't operate properly. Uh, I've got several videos on this rifle, taking it apart, getting it cleaned up. I ran into an issue with it. The rear cap. Once I had gotten all the metal work done on it, got all the rust off of it, scraped it with penny and oil, and got it cleaned up as well as could be. When I went to put that screw that rear cap back in, the spring got bound up, and so it just twisted on itself and was just boogered beyond repair. So fortunately, I was able to
Oh.
get one from Numerix. It took about a
Mm.
week, um, but I got that replaced today. Uh, Cleaned up the stock, just some 4-aught. It's just got good, honest wear on it, but it cleaned up pretty well. This is how it looked when I got finished. A lot of times, what I'll use is Renaissance wax after I get it cleaned up. But today I used lemon oil, and man, it really put a shine on that thing, and I was impressed with how well that lemon oil worked. I'll have to see how it holds up over time. Um, but yeah, that was kind of what I was finishing up today. Test fired it, ran like a typewriter, so uh, pretty happy with that.
Awesome. Yeah, because I'm more familiar with the Savage 6. I don't think I've actually ever held one of those before, but yeah, I know they're all fairly close to the same thing. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that looks like you brought it back really nice right there. But just by looking at the picture anyway. So, did you take the? I take it you probably wound up taking the rifle and everything completely out of the stock and looking at the wood on the inside and the underbelly of the actual barrel and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah.
How gacked up was that?
It was pretty bad. It's one of the worst I've had, honestly. You know, these uh, I don't know when the last time that gun was shot. I mean, it may have been sitting around for 40 years. I don't know. But it was really, really dirty. And of course, the gill guns, they had the gills on there because the ammo that they ran back then was so dirty. And that let some of that powder residue out of there. Um, but yeah, it was really, really gummed up. Um, but I'm happy with how it turned out. Um, and it's just it's a neat rifle. You know, when you pull the trigger, the explosion happens. It shoots the bolt back, but the bolt doesn't come back forward until you let off the trigger, and that's why it has that unique sound. And people call it a click clack gun because it's kind of like click clack, and it's just a different timing than what you're used to. But yeah, I had a chance to buy a Savage 6 a while back, and I don't know why I didn't do it, but yeah, they're neat old guns, and they were made in I don't know how many iterations. They were sold through department stores and all different kinds of things. Just a
Yep.
design that has been around a long time and pretty popular. I had a hard time getting the bolt and hammer back in just because I'd never had one apart and back together. So I was trying to figure it out. I finally found a pretty good video to help me get it. And of course, once I got it, I was like, well, duh.
Right.
Let's
When in
see.
doubt, go to YouTube and look up a video. Right.
Yeah, got a comment here. Todd B says, do you guys own a Remington Model 8/81? It's my favorite rifle. Todd, I haven't ever owned one. Pat, how about you?
No, I don't think I've even had my hands on one before, to be honest. Uh, I'd have to look back up to see exactly which one rifle he is actually talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll look and see if I can maybe pull one up and give us a look at that while we're chatting. When were those made, Todd? What uh, what vintage would that be? I've
Um,
got the Remington book right here. I can actually look it up real quick. Um, if anybody wants the definitive book on Remington, is it a rimfire or a centerfire? I'm thinking it might be a centerfire since I'm not familiar with it.
he says between 1906 and 1950.
Okay, so
How
they
can I
made them a
decide that?
while. First commercially available semi-auto rifle. Hmm. Okay. Mike Alsop, he's with Remington. He's the president of Remington Society of America. He says the Model 8 and 81 look like a Browning shotgun and was designed by Browning. Okay. Thanks for putting that in there, Mike. That is cool. Yeah, we'll get around to that here in a little bit. I'll let Pat kind of give us the rundown on that since he's been involved with it longer than I have. Um, yeah, we're gonna.
Um,
You want
yeah,
to go
we'll
about that?
yeah, actually, a friend of mine out there in the side chat right now, Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies out there, uh, the uh, Guns, Beer, and Therapy, aka American Hillbilly, out there are throwing together a little oh, what's the right word
Razor.
I want to use on that? A fundraiser of
Yeah.
sorts for some for one of his neighbors that got flooded out this last week with all the rain and everything, and
Mm.
young young couple just getting started. Um, yeah, bad deal. They basically lost everything. I mean, they had clothes on their back, and I don't know what else. I think a couple other little things, but as far as the house and everything, I mean, I saw the pictures. You can go over to Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies, and he has a short video on that, and it just about just oh, I've had something similar like that, and it's like somebody just walked up and punched you in the gut, watching everything, your house and everything just totally destroyed, whether it's fire or water. Either one, it's a gut punch. It really is. So, but yeah, they're doing a, fundraiser over there right now, and I can't really specifically remember how all that works, but there is more information if you go over to American Hillbilly Up. Um, he's got he's got a short video on how all that's going to work and everything, and it's for a good cause, people. So I mean, even if you donate 5, 10 bucks, I mean, it's you know, and I hate to see, especially when a young couple like that, they're in their early 20s, and hardworking kids from the story that I've been told and everything. So yeah, that hurts just getting started out and having everything wiped out. But yeah, you can go check that out at Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies. And as far as how the contest and the giveaways and everything is going to go, you can go check out American Hillbilly out there on YouTube. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we've done
more information.
we've done a couple podcasts this week, taking in some donations for a giveaway, which I believe is going to
Hmm.
happen Saturday. Um, so
Yes, sir.
and who's hosting that? That's going to be
That is going to be Hillbilly Up himself, American Hillbilly.
okay. Yeah,
So that will be
Hillbilly Up.
on.
So Saturday, look for that. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff given away. I don't know how many items. It's got to be at least 100. A lot of knives and just all kinds of stuff. Scopes. What else? Just
Yeah, and
tips.
yeah, just for a little bit more ground rules while I was fresh in my memory. If you do donate, you are automatically entered into the drawing.
Yeah.
So, and me personally, I will be donating a Monstrum Tactical 3x30 fixed scope with illuminated reticle in there. It's been very gently used. I did a review on it over on my channel and decided to go a different route with something else. So this thing has like 0 hours on it. It did a video and then it stayed in there and then it's been in here for a year. So still got the box, the receipts, and everything. So yeah, it's just been sitting there, and I saw that for a good cause, and I was like, it's been sitting there for a year. I might as well, you know, just want to help out a little bit. So that's what I'll be donating over there. So
Yeah, and this is one of the scopes that I donated. The old Japanese Tasco, great glass for back in the day. This is super clear, works good. Um, also, I did a couple videos on this old timer knife, restoring it this week. Um, it's got the scars of its hard life, but it's still a really good knife. And but yeah, I don't know. I've probably got a dozen knives in here that are going to be given away on Saturday. Tactical bag, and there's all kinds of really cool stuff that guys have thrown into the kitty for that. And man, I think they've already raised close to $3,000 for them. So yeah, I invite all of you to check that out on Saturday. So it's a good cause, and man, like you say, that's just a gut punch. You're young, you're trying to get started, and you know they can't get flood insurance out there, so it's just a total loss and a really hard thing to recover from. But they're in our prayers, and we're gonna help them out as much as we can. So yeah,
Yeah, and
let's see. Mike
since
says,
before I forget,
yeah,
if Hillbilly or Kentucky can hear me out there, if you guys would want to throw out the link on there for the donation deal on there, if anybody, and I'm not forcing anybody to donate or anything, but if you do donate, you do get entered into the drawing with all this good stuff. So it all goes towards a good cause. So
Kentucky says 3,000 and $1. So that's
awesome.
outstanding. Let's see. Mike Alsip says, interesting note is the Model 8 was one of the guns used to take down Bonnie and Clyde. Now, Mike he's a Remington shotgun guy. He runs I'm drawing a blank on it. We'll get into this here in a minute. The rim shots in the Remington Collector's Journal, so you can write in, and if you have a question about Remington, man, he can run it down for you. If he doesn't know it, he knows somebody that does. These guys over here, man, they're the utmost foremost experts on all things Remington, not just firearms, but you know, Remington made a ton of stuff back in the day, knives and typewriters and bicycles. I mean, it just goes on and on. That's a great resource if you're into Remingtons. Remington Society of America, remingtonsociety.org, great organization. We'll take a look at that journal here in a little bit. I just got it in. I look forward to it every quarter, getting that in. Let's see. There was something I wanted to pull up here. Marshmut says, new sub. I'm glad to see younger guys that like the old stuff. If you stay with it, you'll get some great deals when old parts like me drift away. Yeah, we're all headed in that same direction, aren't we? Just at different points of it. Appreciate the sub, Marshmut, and we appreciate you jumping in the comments tonight. Let's see here. Got a couple more. He said he put it in the link in the side chat here. I'm looking to see if I can find it. Okay, here we go. Here's some places that you can catch up with that. Todd B says, yep, most of the posse was armed with Remington Model 8, and Clyde was hit with a headshot from the Model 8. That's at into the day, I would say. All right. So the other night on another podcast we were doing, we had Nibs from Walnut and Steel, and Nibs is a great collector of air guns, and people always kind of joke, has he rubbed off on you yet? Because Nibs and I do some podcasting together, and I have a couple air guns. I don't shoot them much, but I ran across one the other day that looked interesting to me, and I'll pull that up. This is made in West Germany. It's called a Diana Model 45, and it looks like it's got some interesting sights here.
Okay, I've seen that somewhere.
Have you?
Yeah, I know I've seen that one somewhere. Okay, yeah, no, that's cool.
It looks like it was made by RWS. Like I say, I'm not real familiar with air guns, but I saw this one, and I have an Anschutz that was made in West Germany, and man, it is a magnificent piece of machining. It's just so smooth, and the fit and finish is incredible, and it is accurate. So I thought I had a
Yeah, and
picture.
that German technology,
Yeah,
they don't mess around.
yeah. There's the front hooded side on it. So I don't know. I might have to pick that up and mess around with it a little bit. Do you do any air gun stuff, Pat?
Yeah, I do a little bit with my sons. They're 10 and 6, so we've definitely got some BB guns in the house. Got some Crossmans, nothing fancy, just enough to go out there and go plink and have a good time, And we got some, of course, the quintessential Daisy Red Riders. You got to have those,
Yeah,
especially getting them started out.
we've got one of those, and my daughter's 6, and I've had her out to shoot that a little bit. She's small for a 6-year-old, so she's just not quite big enough to hold them quite yet. But I think next year we'll start getting her into the sport. It's a great way to spend time with your kids
Hmm.
and the wife. Me and the wife were shooting. Let me see. I'll pull it up. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. We were shooting this off the back porch the other day. I had just gotten it scoped up. This is a Winchester 52 Moroku reproduction. I don't know if you've ever owned a Moroku rifle, but they made excellent, excellent reproductions. I think they made around, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, but somewhere in the neighborhood of like 25,000 reproductions of the 52 out of that um, Moroku Japan factory. This is the Utah Centennial. They made 1,000 of them, and man, it is the 52 is just built like a tank. It's built like a center fire. It's got dual front lugs, um, and just tight fit and finish, excellent quality. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to pick up one of the reproductions, I've had several of the Moroku reproductions over the years, and they've all been excellent rifles.
Yeah, my dad has OG sitting in his gun safe
Yeah,
over there at his place. So yeah, it's built like a freaking tank, and yeah, I did a lot of shooting on that when I was when I was a kid. So I had thoroughly enjoyed that rifle for sure. So I keep asking if he's done shooting it and if he just wants to go ahead and hand it over now, but he said no.
yeah, I got it scoped up. I had put burris rings on it, and then I had a new old stock Tasco straight four power. Um, so I went ahead and put that on there. That's plenty for what I'm going to do with that rifle. It looks good. It's the right size for it. When you're putting a scope on a rifle like that, you want it balanced. I don't feel like, unless you're going to be shooting competition, um, you don't need a 500 power scope on it. It just takes away from
Right.
from the beauty of it. Let's see. Yes, that's right, Marsh. Some of the 52 repros were marked Winchester and others Browning. That is correct. Yep.
Yeah,
I don't.
never shot a reproduction. Um, in your view, how would you say the reproduction measures up versus the original as far as looks and everything wise?
As far as look, like I've handled the originals. I've never shot one. but I've handled a bunch of them at gun shows and stuff like that. Um, I mean, the reproductions are every bit as good as the originals without having shot one. Now I can tell you this thing is accurate. It's as accurate as I can be. You're not going to miss because of the rifle. I can tell you that.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's good. I'm glad they did it justice then.
Okay, Todd B saying Rokus are not reproductions. They are licensed from Winchester and use Winchester branding. Um, uh, Not quite sure what you're saying there, Todd B. Um, I think they're a copy of it. Um, I, as far as I know, they're known as 52Rs, 52 reproductions. But yeah, I don't know if we're just quibbling about. I don't know that it matters, but let's see. Okay, guys,
Yeah,
I gotta go be a guest over on GSC. Thank you
yeah.
for dropping
George,
in, Kentucky. We appreciate you, brother, and we'll see you Saturday for sure for the fundraiser giveaway. Yeah.
yeah, and he's talking about the Georgia shooting connection over there. So
Okay. Let's see what else I got.
another
Yeah.
good podcast to go check out. If you guys a lot of reloading and stuff like that. So yep, another good podcasters over there. Good group of guys.
Yeah. The other thing I had in the deck was let me pull this up. This is just a real short video, but this shows the Winchester 70, is it 72 or 74? Well, I can't go grab it right now. But um, yeah, so the reason I show that is I found this Lyman Alaskan scope when I was in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Antique Arms Show. Um, Got to talking to the guy, and man, he made me just a banger of a deal on this scope. It's really good condition for the age, super clear. This was a all-weather scope, so it has the caps on it, and maybe somebody out there in the comments can 72. Yes, Marshmallow. Thank you. I got my numbers jumbled up. But this one that has a prefix of A on it. Now, I believe the ones that are prefixed B were the ones that were used in the military. And so the internals are serialized as well. And from what I've read, I haven't had this part, but from what I've read, the A prefix are serialized as well. But I'm not sure what they were used for, like why they got a special prefix. So that's something I
Hmm.
would like to try to find out. Hopefully, somebody out there will know. But this is a nice scope. It's well built, heavy, clear. Uh, Now it is a 7/8 inch scope, which is not as common, as the 1 inch. You can find the old Weaver sites for it, like the puzzle locks. Um, but yeah, I need to find a set of 7/8 inch uh, rings for this scope, but I think it's going to look really good on that 72 and kind of tie it all together. Anytime I can put peep sights or a scope on something and keep it looking right, then that's what I want to do. Getting back to eyes getting tired and not as good as they used to be.
Right. Uh, what power scope is that?
That is what is that? I think it's a 2.5. I'm pretty sure it's a 2.5. Yeah, I'm
All
sure.
right, that'll tie
Sure.
in nice with that 72 then.
Yeah, I think it's gonna look good on there, and like I say, it's a nice clear scope. Now, sometimes you run into these and they need rebuilt. I think Vintage Optics, you can send these in. They'll get them cleaned up and nitrogen filled and all that good stuff, and come back like a brand new scope, like it would have been when it was released. Um, those kinds of scopes, those old Weavers and Lymans, they're starting to bring some money, and I think it's because those rifles that were made back in the 50s and 40s, 50s, guys like us, our dads had them or our granddads had them, and so now we want them, and you want to put a scope on there that's kind of period correct. So a lot of those old Weavers and Lymans and stuff, um, they sell them over there at Vintage Optics, but they're pricey. You're gonna spend three, four, $500 to get a scope, a steel tube scope like that. But they're nice. They do a good job over there. I'd like to see their operation sometime.
Yeah, that definitely be a cool factory tour for sure.
Well, I think they bought up all the parts that Weaver had. Um, and it was just pallets and pallets. I saw a video about it. They bought just pallets and pallets of parts, and that's how they're able to kind of rebuild these things now. So
No, those are starting to get hard to find. 20, 30 years ago, you could have found those squirreled away in boxes on estate sales, and they would have gone for $2.
yeah,
But now they're starting to fetch a price for sure, especially if it's a good one.
yeah, they are. And those old Tascos are kind of like that now too. The
Yeah,
Japanese versions, and even some of the Taiwan made are okay. But yeah, anytime I spot one of those old Japanese Tascos, if it's in good shape, I'll scoop it up because you can still get them for 20, $30, and it's a good piece of glass for that kind of money. If you bought something
yeah,
comparable today, you're going to spend a lot more.
yeah, and that's what most of my dad's stuff had on it when he got, like running a 22 250 and 270s and stuff like that. Back when Japan was still doing all the glass and everything on that Tasco before they really. Uh, I, I'm not a big Tasco fan anymore. I'll put it that way. But the older ones with the Japanese glass and everything in there, it still amazes me to this day how clear and everything that those scopes are on my dad's rifles and stuff. And it's just like,
Yeah,
oh, and there's, you could modernize it, but it's just like, no, it's still shoots great. It's holding zero. Why bother? Kind of deal. One of his favorite ones, the 22 250 with the 3 to 9 power Tasco
yeah.
on it. When we're coyote hunting, he put it on there. It's never been off, and that thing has never lost zero on it. And it's been a workhorse. I love it.
Yeah. Well, Tasco got a bad name, when they moved operations, into like I said, I picked up some Taiwan made Tascos that were still pretty good. But once they went to China, they just started making a bunch of junk, and
Yeah.
they picked up that Trashco name, and it stuck with them for a long time. But yeah, if you can find some of the Japanese stuff, then you're doing better. Marshmut said it's not clear what caliber was used. There were multiple Model 81s, and the posse leader, Frank Hammer, fired the first shot that killed Clyde. Interesting. Let's see, Todd. Marshmut, we know for sure Hammer did not use the Model 81 with the extended magazine, which was not available in 1934. It's always amazing what people know about some of this stuff.
Yeah, because I know Clyde and Bonnie were using Browning BARs that they had stolen out of a government facility somewhere. I can't remember if it was an army base or something, but I can't remember if when they shot Bonnie and Clyde whether they had a bar too. I think they did. Somebody was shooting the BAR, I think. But I honestly can't remember. I may be getting things mixed
Yeah,
up a little bit.
don't get me to lying. But
Yeah,
that's
I
they were trying to match firepower with them because otherwise they would have just got absolutely smoked. Uh, Todd B says they used standard Model 8s, Winchester 1894s, Winchester 1907s, and BARs.
okay. All right. I thought the bar was in the mix in on that too. So
Yeah, everything but a Thompson.
right. Uh, I'll be right back. I've got to take care of something. Just 1 second.
Yeah, go right ahead. Todd B says, "Yep, they stole the BARs from a National Guard armory." Well, that is interesting. That's good to know. Let me put this up here. Yeah, guys, if you want to help support the channel, super chats are a great way to do that. Really helps us out. We appreciate you guys being in the chat. This is one of the funnest parts about being on YouTube is going back and forth with people in my comments and when we're doing these podcasts. It's a blast. So appreciate you guys being here for sure. Let me talk about Remington Society of America. It's an organization that I'm involved with. Um, every quarter, I get the Remington Collectors Journal. If you're into Remingtons, this is just a great read. It's a little something different from just American Rifleman or Shooting Illustrated. Really in-depth articles in here that are well researched. RSA has an archive of stuff that you can't find anywhere else. And while I was out in Vegas for the Las Vegas Antique Arms Show, I got to sit and visit with Roy Marco, who was one of the founders of RSA. And he was one of the guys that got to go into the Remington factory. And it was kind of a secret project. They had this secret room in the factory where a few employees would take files and paperwork and letters and little trinkets and all this stuff that would have otherwise gotten thrown away, and they just piled it into this room, and nobody really knew about it until these guys from RSA got to digging, and they were allowed to go in this room, and they'd go for a day, once a month or whatever it was. And they would go in there and they'd be able to make copies of all the stuff that was in there. And over the years, Roy and RSA's compiled all these files, and now they're putting it, they've digitized it, and so RSA members can access it. Pretty soon it's gonna be online. Right now, if you have something obscure that you can't find the information about online, you can reach out to Doug Gravitt, and he'll look it up for you. He'll see what RSA has in their files. And if you're working on a book or you're working on a video for YouTube and you want some information, it's free to RSA members. So it's a great resource. I had him dig up stuff for a video I did the other day on the Model 34. And so, yeah, RemingtonSociety.org. It's $50 for the first year and $45 each year after. But you get access to all those guys. They're just so knowledgeable, and you get 4 of these journals every year, which I think is worth the price of admission anyway. I don't know. Pat, have you bought a magazine off the magazine rack lately?
I haven't bought a magazine in a
And
long time.
they're expensive. I mean, they're
Yeah.
$12 for a magazine, and I guarantee you, not the quality of this. So yeah, like I say, if you guys are into Remingtons, man, you gotta hook up with them. Uh, Great organization. Let's see here.
No,
What we
that's very awesome. I didn't even know that even existed. So that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I just happened upon them. I had a Remington that I was having a hard time uh, figuring out when it was made. And there's actually an article in this quarter that talks about how you date code a Remington with the barrel code. So that's super handy to have around. Um, all of them from I think 1920 had a barrel code, and I'll put this up here so maybe y'all can screenshot this. But yeah, you use the black powder on top to figure out the month, and then down here it'll either be it's either 2 or 3 letters. Usually, will tell you what the month and the year that that rifle was made. So yeah, I had trouble figuring out when a certain rifle was made, and um, Mike also the now president of RSA reached out to me and helped me, and we just kind of got to know each other and started working on stuff. So I'm involved with them now, and it's been a great opportunity. But yeah, check out RSA for sure. Let's see.
Yeah.
Todd B, any views on the Remington 550-1? I did a video on that rifle several months ago. I really like the 550. It uses the same type of action as the later 552 Speedmaster. Now, the 552 Speedmaster is a two-piece stock, so it's a little bit flimsier, in my opinion. The 550 is just a single piece wood stock, a little bit heavier rifle, and I was able to shoot some really low-powered. What are they called? Uh, Calibres. I mean, they're just a real light powder charge. I was able to shoot those out of that 550-1. So big fan of that. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to find one of those and add it to my collection. I'm a big fan of the 552. Those things eat everything. Short, long rifle. Um, they're a blast to shoot. Have you ever had the opportunity to shoot a Remington 552 Speedmaster?
Uh, no, I have not. I've seen them, handle them, but I've never been able to shoot one. Again, that would be another good gun to have in my collection.
I'll tell you what, they have almost a cult-like following because they're such neat rifles. And I did a video a while back, the 1022 versus the Remington 552 Speedmaster, and I'll tell you, the guys that have Speedmasters, they'll put up a fight about that rifle, probably for good reason. I always thought it'd be cool if 1022s had a short model. Um, I can't imagine that it would take too much to make one. I enjoy shooting shorts, and if they came out with a 1022 short, I'd probably buy one.
Yeah, that'd be really cool for up close. Just kind of quieter. You can get your kid behind it, with no ear pro on and everything, and uh, and great for little pest control too, because I run some shorts and stuff on, like, if I come across rats or if I've got something in a trap, the short works just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, shorts are fun. My wife and I will sit on the front porch and we'll just shoot a can across the yard with some shorts, and like I say, you don't need ear pro, and yeah, they're just something fun to plink with.
Yep,
Marshmallow,
just about like shooting a subsonic.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Marshmallow says I love the 241. Yeah, that's another good one. That is. Mike's jumping in here saying it started in 1991 with a few RSA members researching for some books they were writing. It ended up with an annual research team that went to Ilion plant each year for research until 2018. Yeah, those guys did a bunch of work. The archives is huge. Matter of fact, I was talking to well, I'm not going to say who it was, but it was another creator on YouTube who does really in-depth videos on older firearms. And I said, man, you ought to check out RSA. And he said, well, there's not enough back to the catalog stuff on Remingtons to mess with. Well, there is. It's at RSA. Remington didn't. They didn't take care of their records like Winchester and Colt did. So it took some guys from outside to come in and gather up all that information and organize it. And they've done a really good job with that. So let's see.
I can't imagine being turned loose on something like that and getting to see all that old paperwork and uh, pieces, parts, and stuff for prototypes, and or the origin story behind this gun, and it's just like, well, I'm missing some pages. Well, go look through that stack, or
Yeah. Well, that's what Roy told me. He said, man, we were like kids in a candy store. Every time we got to go in there, it was just, they dragged home boxes and boxes of stuff that they had copied, and it would take months to go through it all and catalog it, by rifle, but rifle, shotgun, and all the different models.
Yep.
And because they've done that now, they can PDF those files, and it's super easy to be able to go in and search for it all. So all the work that they did these decades are going to be a real boom for Remington collectors. So appreciate what they've done.
Yeah, for sure. Because if those guys hadn't gone in there and done something like that, and especially modernizing it and digitizing it and being able to get it out in the modern world, I mean, that stuff, it could have been lost to history. I mean, a plant fire or something. You just never know. I mean, weird things have happened. So.
Well, and the dues that they collect, for being a member, that is paid for that, because they had to hire a company to come in and scan all those files and organize them and get them to where they could to be available online. So yeah, the dues that you pay as a member go towards projects like that. Here's a good one. Marshbutt said, I've seen your videos on the CZ 455. Have you tried a 452? I sure wish CZ would make 17 HMR2s again. Yeah, the CZ 455. That was the first CZ I've ever owned. And man, I was really impressed with it. You talk about a great woods gun. It's the one I've got. I think they call it the American. It's got the short barrel. There's no provisions for sights. I've got a loopholed rimfire straight 4-power scope on it. And man, that is a nice little rifle. Excellent. Have you messed around with the CZ 452, 455, 457, any of those?
No, I have not. Just mainly their some of their pistols and stuff like that. Nothing in on their rifle end or anything like that. I mean, I've heard a lot of good stuff, but yeah, I've never had the opportunity, unfortunately.
Yeah, they make a good rifle. I was impressed with it, and that's like I say, that's a keeper. I'll be hanging on to that one. The guy that I bought it from, I bought it at the local Get spot, but I know where it came from, and I talked to him. The only reason he sold it was that he wanted to put a suppressor on one, and he didn't want to mess with the barrel on that one. So he went and got one that was threaded. but it's had some trigger work done on it, and it's had the trigger plate replaced. You know, the from the factory they come with like a stamped trigger plate and trigger guard, and this one's got a nice blued heavy duty trigger guard on it. So yeah, really nice rifle, Marsh Mud. I like that one for sure. Let's see here. Mike says, worst thing is it wasn't exactly in order and nothing in searchable form, but it made it fun, like an amazing treasure hunt each time we went. Yeah, for sure. Kids in a candy store, no doubt. So yeah, we got Mike coming from Facebook. This is the first time I've linked up to Facebook, so I'm glad to see that it's working out well. Like I said earlier, if you guys want to support the channel, you can do that through stars on Facebook, super chats on the YouTube. We appreciate any help you can give us because we don't get paid for this. It's all just for, I don't know. How many videos have you made since you started, Pat?
Oh, probably between my shorts and my actual videos and my lives and stuff, I've probably put out maybe a couple hundred pieces of content out on YouTube, and then I do post some on Facebook too as well. So I got at least two spaces. Um, I'm thinking if I want to go a little bit more in depth on the guns and stuff, and unfortunately, I would have to go over to Rumble or something like that. And I know a lot of guys have, and so I don't know. That may be a thing in the future if YouTube keeps getting worse about their gun stuff. I mean that's definitely a possibility for me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've been doing this for a little bit, not as long as a lot of these other guys out there, but yeah, try to put out a regular video once a week. Sometimes it don't happen, especially in my profession, being a farmer and a rancher, and it just depends on the time of year. So, but
Well, it's a labor of love for sure.
mhm.
Uh, Definitely when you're starting out. You know, I've done. I don't know. I think I'm over 200 videos now. But I was just monetized like 2 weeks ago, maybe. Um, so yeah, it takes a lot of time, but I enjoy it. Like I say,
Yeah.
I enjoy talking to the people in the comments, and man, I've learned so much from YouTube videos that it feels good to give back and share some of the knowledge that I picked up over the years, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh yeah, and the community, especially if you do lives and you start getting tied in on podcasts and
Yeah,
stuff. I I I started out on one that's no longer around, unfortunately, but that was always a good podcast. But yeah, on any given night, I can be about on a podcast a night. But unfortunately, I've got a family and everything, so I try to limit my time and try to space it out a little bit. But man, I've made so many friends and people that I actually have their physical number
yeah,
and their and everything, and I can talk. If I got a gun problem or anything, and that I can just ring them up, call them or FaceTime them or whatever. So yeah, it's opened up a lot of doors for me, especially on research and stuff on what to buy, what not to buy. Did this guy have a good experience with it? Okay, well he's got this, kind of thing. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It
yeah,
really has been. Very minimal bad reactions with people. So I
yeah.
guess I've been lucky in that too. So, but
Well,
yeah, for the most part, it's just like anything else. Most of the people on here are great, but every once in a while you're going to run into a hole. I'll put it that way without cussing. So, but everything's got that. Everything's got that. Doesn't matter. So, but
I think we were talking about that on the podcast the other night. You know, the 2A community on YouTube is just such a good community, and
hmm
I very rarely get somebody in my chats that's like that. Occasionally, but if you compare it and go look at videos on other topics like cars or um, I mean, pick something.
Yeah,
You get
exactly.
people in there that they're mean, and yeah, I don't see that much on my channel, and the guys that I know that have channels don't see it much either, and I guess that just says something about the 2A community. They're generally good people and helpful, really helpful. Um,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah. And that's one of the things that definitely surprised me when I got started into it, especially in after chats and stuff like that. It was like, yeah, no, here's my number. If you need anything or having problems with this or that, just give me a call. And I was just kind of blown away at first. I was like, okay. So, yeah, it's very good community. Probably one of the best on YouTube as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, I agree. And hopefully things get better as time goes on. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny when I first got monetized, I went through and monetized these videos, and some of them are limited on the monetization, and I can't tell you why, because I've never made anything that went against their policies. I've always um, been very careful to make sure there's not cussing and I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm either talking about a particular rifle and shooting it on the range, or I'm taking it apart and cleaning it. Um, so yeah, their algorithm. I don't know exactly what it catches on some certain videos. I just couldn't tell you. And
Yeah.
how much of a fight do you want to put up, for each one of those? I don't know, I'm not sure, but hopefully it gets better. I've heard that X is a pretty good place to
Hmm.
post. Uh, X is kind of how do I want to say this? There's a lot of negativity over there on X from what I've seen. Now, is that for the 2A community as well? I don't know, but something that I
Yeah.
probably need to look into. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
I
got
don't X. So I've got YouTube and I've got Facebook, and that's more than enough of a time suck for me. So
yeah.
I try to keep it limited.
Well, most of the guys that do firearms content that I know are not really social media guys. We kind of do this. It's just because we have to
Yeah.
get content
Yeah.
out. But yeah, Facebook is one that I've had a really hard time with as far as them striking things down. Yeah, Mike, I've got some pictures too. I didn't load them up in the deck, but we'll share those sometime for sure. They're pretty cool. The room that they went into. I mean, it's literally just stuff piled all over. It's wild.
Oh, that's wild.
Todd says everything CZ makes is excellent. I love my CZ P07 and CZ PL1 semi-auto pistols. Okay, never owned a CZ pistol, but I'm
They're
sure.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. I've actually shot both of those, and yeah, and I know some guys that run CZs in competition, and they absolutely love them.
Okay. What's your everyday carry pistol?
Well, if it's on the farm, I've got uh, a Smith and Wesson Model 681 in the holster, uh, in the truck with me.
Yeah.
Three Remington 357. That's my daily in the truck. If it's concealed carry, it's a Smith and Wesson uh, Shield Plus 9 millimeter with
Okay.
the extended 13 round magazine. That's always with me on body, uh, undercover when me and the family are out. So yeah, those are my two main ones that I carry around, and then of course I got this new tea sauce, but that's not really concealed carry gun or anything like that. That's
Yeah.
more of a fun gun that I'm getting set up for more or less home defense and stuff with the dot and the light and everything like that. So, but yeah, those are my three main ones right now.
I'll tell you what, I don't know who they got working over there at Smith and Wesson, but they put out some really good pistols the past few years. Of course, you know,
Hmm.
the Shield series. I bought one of those when they first came out. The
Yep.
9 millimeter, that was a great pistol. Um, of course, the Shield EZ now that they have, that's a great pistol. You know, for somebody like my wife, because she has a really hard time racking the slide on most semi-autos, and the EZ is one that she can handle well. I bought the new Bodyguard 2.0, and
Oh,
man, I
nice.
am blown away with that pistol. It is fantastic. 380. It is super small. I mean, but it's small. Like I had the original Bodyguard, and so I could get like two fingers on that grip. The 2.0 that they came out with, I can get a full purchase on it, and like I've got pretty good size hand, like NFL quarterback size hands, and I can get a full purchase on the extended mag of that 380. And man, it shoots good. And yeah, the Bodyguard 2.0 is probably the most surprising firearm of 2024 for me, and that's definitely my EDC. It's it, you know, you can carry that thing and you don't even know it's there. I wish they would come
Right.
out with a 22 model. I think that would be really fun to have, you know, a little cheaper to train with and that kind of thing. But yeah, if you guys shot the Bodyguard 2.0, let me know what you think about it. I think they hit it out of the park with that thing. The other that I would carry more like if I was camping or hunting would be a Smith and Wesson Airweight 357 38 special. Um, I've got a subscriber that was talking about going on a pig hunt, and he was asking what pistol he should carry. I think he had two 9 millimeters, semi-auto 9 millimeters, and that 357 snub. And I think the 357 is what I would want to go for. But what do you guys think? What would you carry, Pat?
Oh boy, I don't think I'd carry anything smaller than a 357 if I was going to be in a hog hunt, and
Yeah,
because if you get in near a nest, and Mama decides she wants to tangle, I'm not saying a 9 millimeter wouldn't do the job, especially with the right ammo in it, but I want something with a little bit more power and a little bit more weight, a little more lead in its rear end, so to speak.
and something that you know when you pull that trigger, it's going to go bang. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
No, I would carry my 681 with me
yeah,
if I was going to be hog hunting and poking through the woods. I'll put it
yeah,
that way. If I was actually down in the woods, yeah, it'd have to be a 357 or bigger on a
yeah.
hog for
That's
me.
why I say if I'm out in the woods or something like that, that's what I'm going to carry is my
Hmm.
357 revolver. Just uh, I think that's the way to go. Todd B, I found your channel recently and enjoy your rifle restoration videos. Thank you, man. I really enjoy those videos. I know, like, I usually break mine up into several videos because I don't like sitting on the computer and doing a bunch of editing. That's just, you know, maybe one of these days I'll go in and compile them all into one video. But yeah, I enjoy doing that. That was one of the things that we talked about before we came on, Pat. Um, you know, an older rifle, what some people would say will never touch an old rifle. Um,
Hmm.
like the way I look at it is recently I had Mossberg 46M Mannlicher, and not a super collectible rifle, but it could be if it was original, in really good condition. Then yeah, the stock on this one, I think maybe I've got a picture of how it looked before, but it was pretty rough, and so I decided to go ahead and yeah, here it is. So this was kind of the shape it was in when I started. Um, this stuff I couldn't get off. I wasn't gonna be able to just clean it off. It had some pretty good gouges in it, and the whole rifle was kind of in this shape. So I decided that I think it's a neat rifle, and it was one that I want to keep. It's not like I was doing this to flip it and sell it. So I decided, I want to make this nice for me, and
Hmm.
I did the work on it, and I think it turned out pretty good. I I didn't take out every scratch on the stock, and I did that because if I had, it wouldn't have matched the metalwork on on this rifle. Like there's always going to be a bit of pitting on this rifle, and so I wanted it to look like an honest rifle. Um, but yeah, that's just a tried and true Danish oil, and then just some Renaissance wax on top of that. One thing that I really had to watch on this rifle was the fit where this metal band is. Like if I scraped it, I didn't sand it, the finish off. I scraped it off, but I was really careful to leave um, just a small line of the original finish on either side of that band, and that way the wood fitment was as it was out of the factory, and you can't tell that there's any original finish there. So that was one that I've messed up a lot of rifles, over the years, learning how to do this stuff, and that's definitely one of the things that I've learned, that you got to be really careful about sanding and taking too much wood off. But yeah, I was happy with how that one came out. So Todd, I'm glad that you enjoy those, man. Appreciate you being around.
Yeah, no, that looks nice. But yeah, what kind of the discussion that we had in the back chat before we got started was restoration versus preservation,
Yeah,
and that's two very big different components on that. Um, like on most of my stuff, on my antique stuff, like I have a now if I had a ratty old Mosin, and I did this. Um, I had a ratty old Mosin, didn't look good. The barrel was still in good shape, and the bolt was still, everything was still tight. Head spaced right, but the stock was just absolute junk.
yeah,
So I wasn't out anything taking it out of the wood stock because it was split. There wasn't any saving of it. It was just, it was nasty.
right.
So took it out, put it in a Monte Carlo chassis, put uh, an actual rifle scope on top of it, a rock solid on there, and I turned it into my deer rifle, and I've been deer hunting with it ever since.
Yeah,
And been a great gun. Now I've got another one that is a Type 54 that actually has the soldier's name carved into it on both sides of the buttstock,
yeah, you're right.
and it's been dragged through the jungle, y'all. It's been beat up, it's dented. I'm lucky it's not cracked, but the mechanism, the barrel wasn't shot out. Still the original folding bayonet on it and everything. That one I preserved. I just took it down, got rid of all the mung and stuff on it, and just cleaned it up really nice, oiled it where it needed oiled, cleaned the wood up just a little bit, enough to get that outside gunk off of it,
Yeah,
re-oiled it, and that's it.
yeah,
because that one to me is special because it's actually got somebody's name carved into it that actually held that rifle. So
Yeah.
that's where preservation really comes in, is key versus just like, oh well, it's just a ratty old Mosin. I'm just going to sand everything down on it and steam all the dents and everything on it, and I'm going to restore it to original. No,
No,
when
not
you
on
got
that
something
one.
like that with all the carvings and stuff in it, man,
Yeah.
that's unique. Yeah,
Yeah.
that needs to just be preserved.
They're preserved, and we were talking about that earlier, and we're both big fans of Mark Novak. He's got a great YouTube channel that talks a lot about preservation. Like a lot of these rifles would have been sent back to the armory, and the armory would have cleaned them up. They wouldn't have just done the cleaned up the internals and sent them back out. They might have steamed the barrel on it and oiled it up and oiled the stock and got it back into good working order. So that's an interesting topic of conversation. Is preservation versus refinishing versus just not touching it at all. One of the books that I'm reading right now is the Firearms Bluing and Browning by Angier. I really want to learn how that process works. It's something that I've never done, and I've, I've seen Mark do it on his channel numerous times, and I think that would be good for certain rifles. Um, so looking forward to learning how to do that. Have you ever dabbled into any of that? You used to work with,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I've gone through full restorations with some help from some people, all the way to just boiling the barrel and everything, getting all that crud, and doing a total reblue on something. But usually that was on a gun that was needed major major help, and
Mm.
but most of the time I'm just preserving because, especially on my antiques and stuff like that, I've got some Mosin Gaunts and I've got this and that, and I actually have an Arasaka on loan right now that I'll be doing a video on in the future sometime.
Oh,
And
cool.
all he said, well, what do you think of the gun? And I was like, no, I said it's in really, and it was a bring home straight from Japan, and it still has the flower on top of it, which is you don't the mum on it, which is really really rare.
Okay.
Um, but he said, well, what do you think we should do it? And I said, just preserve it. I said, this
Yeah.
is vintage World War II. I said, I won't steam any of the dents or anything out like that. I'm just going to give it a scrub, take the barrel off, clean everything on the underside, oil it, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to do to it because that's a piece of World War II history. Now, if it's been in a fire or sitting at the bottom of a lake or got in a flood, then yeah, a guy's probably going to have to do a restoration on something like that. But
Yeah.
if it's not too far gone, just preserve on them, especially those older ones. Those older
Yeah.
ones, especially some of the World War I, World War II, uh, stuff like that. If it's still in pretty decent shape, just preserve it.
Yeah.
It's an honest gun.
Well, and there's a lot of things you can do in a preservation versus a restoration that'll make it look better and
Hmm.
make it more shootable and all that stuff. I want to shout out a guy that I'm going to get him on the channel. I've been holding his feet to the fire, so I hope he watches this tonight because I think you guys would really enjoy him. It's Huntsville Guns LLC. He's a gunsmith out of Huntsville, and he's making some good content. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting him on the podcast and having a chat with him. So go check out his channel and tell him that Jeremy sent you and that he needs to come over and get on the podcast with me because I think y'all will enjoy what he's got to offer. Let's see here.
What was his actual channel name? Jeremy?
It's let me
Huntsville.
pull it up here.
Okay.
At Huntsville Guns. Yeah, he's been of course he does, his regular videos and shorts and stuff, but he also does some live stuff where he just sits and talks about what it's actually like being a gunsmith, and kind of fields some questions about that. He had one the other night and it was storming there, so he had to cut it short. But yeah, interesting guy to visit with, and I think he's going to bring a lot to the community. So want to bring him into the fold, and um, looking forward to visiting with him. I just got to get him nailed down.
Right. Right. No,
uh,
that sounds awesome. I'll have to go check him out.
yeah, go check him out for sure. He's doing some good stuff, and he's got a nice shop there. A little jealous of some of the toys he's got, but um, I'm preserving two Savage 99 rifles. I think the Savage 99 was finest made deer rifle of the 20th century. I've never owned one. I've handled a few of them. Really cool design for sure. You have you messed
Hmm.
around with them?
Yeah, actually, I've been pretty lucky. My uncle that doesn't live too far away from me here, he has a Savage 99, and I've been able to fire it. And yeah, it's nice. He's had it for quite a while. So
What caliber are yours, Todd? I think they made that rifle in a bunch of different calibers, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what my uncle's was in now. It was definitely a high powered rifle for sure. I remember that, but now I can't. The caliber is eluding me out of my
Yeah.
brain. Too many numbers up here.
Start looking at calibers and model numbers, and
Yeah, everybody's throwing out 550 or 241 or CZP01.
sure. Oh, there was one up here I was gonna let's see. Todd says his current carry is a Walther PDP-F. Okay. I'm not familiar with that one.
Good little gun. Good little
Yeah.
gun. Yep, I've been able to shoot one of those, and they're nice.
I've got a PPKS, and yeah, that's a nice gun. It's heavy though. Um, just not something I want to everyday carry. That was actually the last gun that my father-in-law wanted before he went to be with the Lord, and so we have one now. And yeah, I don't shoot it very often, but it's a German engineering. It's a nice pistol for sure. Do a few more. You okay on time right now?
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing just fine. Doing just
Okay.
fine.
You let me know if we need to bounce. We won't go much longer. Um, Marshmut says, Todd, check out Dennis Pritchard videos. He's a gunsmith that
Hmm.
shares your love of the 99. Also, Ruger number one. Okay. I don't think I've watched his videos, so I'll have to check those out.
Yep. Yeah, he's good. He's good. I've seen his videos before. You'll enjoy that.
Okay.
But yeah, he just flashed that up. I believe his was a 308 on the Savage
Okay.
99, if I'm remembering correctly. So,
Okay. Todd says
but
the
yeah, good gun. Good gun.
300 Savage and 308. Yeah, it has the rotary magazine. Yeah, so it was able to use Spitzer rounds, pointed round. Yeah. Okay. I guess I might have to check that guy out. I thought I'd watched all the gun channels, but maybe not. Made him in a slew of others. Yeah. Um, I don't know. Maybe I could Google that real quick. I know they made they made them in a bunch of different rounds. So I saw a 22 the other day when I was at the Getting shop. It was a Ruger 1022 Precision. Their bolt action. Have any of you guys messed around with those? Um, I've got, I don't know, half a dozen Ruger 1022s, uh, but I don't have one of their bolt actions. It came with the bipod and the adjustable uh, cheek weld and all that good stuff. And it wasn't too costly. I think it was maybe a $400 gun, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never got to mess with any of those 1022 bolt actions, but one of the wildest 1022s that my buddy has that I've never seen before. Um, he actually shoots competition 22 with his wife does. 16-inch barrel, but it's been rebarreled with an Anschutz barrel
Oh, really?
on a Ruger 1022. And for a semi-auto like that, that thing shoots absolute lights out. I mean, that is the most accurate 1022 that I've ever had the pleasure of shooting. That thing's just at 50 yards, you're stacking it inside of a dime.
And shoots, man. Once you own one, it'll ruin you because they're so good. I mean, I've got a 1422 from West Germany, and that thing is just absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't have another rifle that stacks up against it. It's on a whole nother level as far as a sporter rifle. Even that 52 that I have, the Winchester 52, it's just not even close. And
Yeah.
yeah, if you ever, I just, I live in a little bitty town, and it came through the local pawn shop, and the owner of the pawn shop, it was his rifle. When, of course, when it came in, he threw it in his safe, and he was doing a house project or something and needed some money, and he knew uh, just who to wag that thing in front of, right here. You know, not a cheap rifle, but man, I tell you what, that thing is just a dream. I need to get that back out and make a video about it. It's been a long time since I've done it, but just the bolt runs like butter. The fit and finish on it is second to none, and you know triggers are kind of a funny thing. I'm not super picky, but I want to know what a trigger is going to do. You know, when I squeeze it, it can be heavy. That's fine. As long as I know
Hmm.
it's going to be heavy and I know where it's going to break. One of the worst triggers I've ever pulled was on what was that, a Savage or a Stevens 24C, the camp model. That's a over under 22 20 gauge. Yeah,
Hmm.
full truck gun, right? You know, you got your
Yep.
20 gauge and your 22, but man, alive, that trigger is the worst thing that anybody ever created. And I guess, you know, you can go in and make them better. Um, but yeah, uh, that's one thing about that and shoots. Like when I touch that trigger, I know what it's going to do.
Yep.
And I'll
Oof.
tell you another rifle that really surprised me, and that is a Glenfield Model 25. That's a bolt action, clip fed 22. Not a fancy rifle, but man, the trigger's so good on it, and just a good accurate rifle. And I didn't realize this, and I was doing some reading the other day. So the Model 60, right? They've sold probably a million Model 60s over the
Oh, at
years.
least. At least.
Well, the Model 60 was sold as a Glenfield first. Actually, it started out as a Marlin 99, which was basically a walnut stock, um, long barreled version of the Model 60. And then they came out with the Glenfield Model 60 and Model 60G, shorter barrel. Still, they went to, I think, they might have still had walnut stock on those, but it wasn't until 1983, 82 or 83, that the Marlin Model 60 came out. And man, that's been one of the best selling rifles of all time, up there with the 1022. But yeah, that was just something I was who has the Brophy, the book, the Marlin book, Brophy. I ordered that a little while back. Gonna have to send it back because it had bad binding. But that's where I picked that up. I didn't realize that the Model 60 really wasn't a Marlin until '83, and started out as Glenfield. So
Huh. I did
still
not know
learning
that.
stuff every day, you know.
Right.
Wow. Mike says, how about a Winchester Model 67? Yeah, that's
Nice.
single shot, bullet plunger, and yeah, I've never owned one, but probably should at some point. We'll see. Guess we probably ought to wrap it up. We're about an hour and a half now. Pat, man, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast tonight. It's been a blast visiting with you, and I hope everybody enjoyed the conversation. And man, I'd love to do it again sometime if you'd be willing to do that.
Yeah. No, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself tonight. I too cold to be outside doing anything else right now, so I might as well be inside talking about guns, right?
For sure. Speaking of cold, I had one more uh, little short video in the slide deck. And anytime I run across a product that I just really, really like, I want to share it with people because, man, this is something that can just make your day better, you know, especially in this cold. And it's these boots, and I bought these about a year ago, and I will swear by them. If you need to keep your feet warm, man, put these things on. Even when it's it's been like the wind chill was probably -3 the past couple days. So I was out in the shop. I don't know, it was like 7 or something like that. But I can put these things on, and like my feet, it's not just that they're not cold, they're warm. And it's these things right here. They're actually Uggs. And let me just press play on this so you kind of see they are waterproof, but they got that, I guess, that sheepskin lining in them. Man, super, super comfortable. And like I say, they keep your feet warm. Um, just really, really incredible pair of boots. They don't have a lot of lugs on the sole, so if you're climbing mountains and stuff like that, they're not the boot for you. But if you're standing on concrete out in a shop, working in the cold or something like that, man, these things are they catch me out. So just wanted to throw that out there. Good product. Um, and yeah, so guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a blast talking to you, Pat, and everybody in the comments. Join us Saturday for the fundraiser. Uh, just donate a little bit of money. It doesn't have to be much, $5, and get in so that you can hopefully win some prizes. Because I promise you, there is some really cool stuff that guys have donated for the cause, and you'll be helping some people out. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
But
buddy.
yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This has been fun. Anytime I can chat about guns and meet new people, yeah, I'm all for it.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Hey, well, y'all have a wonderful evening. Um, God bless.